Mention the genus Kalmia, the botanical name for our native mountain laurel, and the name of one man comes right to the fore, and that's Richard Janes of Connecticut. Dick has literally spent a lifetime furthering the knowledge, the study, the breeding and hybridizing of this fantastic native evergreen shrub. Now there are several different species, some that grow in damp, wet, swampy areas, but most of the varieties we grow are ones that have been hybridized from the species latifolia. And this nice compact little variety here, which is called Kalmia Elf incidentally, is one that only grows about 3 foot high by about 3 foot wide. Lovely dark green glossy foliage, as you see, and then in early summer when it starts to flower, it carries these dainty little buds that come out first. They look like daubs of icing on a cake, and then when they open to these lovely, really gorgeous, intricate flowers that always look to me like upturned Chinese lampshades. When you look at them, they're carried in profusion, particularly if the plant is grown in a sunny location. Now, the original species grows right throughout the northeast and mid-Atlantic states. It can grow in either sunny, open conditions, partially shaded conditions, or even in shady areas. And if you walk through woodland areas, you'll see it growing there and flowering, and you get some idea of the conditions that you should try to recreate if you're going to grow it in your garden. What it wants is soil that's free draining. That's important. You see it often in rocky places or in sandy soil, but to which has been added lots of organic matter. In fact, I suggest that what you think about doing is perhaps building a little bit of a mound. Build up a mound first, and then in that mound work in the parent soil, but also things like pine bark, pine nuggets, pine needles, and perhaps even some peat. You want to try to recreate, if you can, the conditions that you would find in a forest floor. If you walk across a forest floor, you'll find it spongy with lots of remains of decayed leaves and so on. That's the kind of conditions that they love to get the roots into. They want a nice cool root run, and in particularly they need it free draining, but also to be able to have retained moisture during the summer months. So that's where all of that organic matter comes into play. Then you'll find that whether it's in sunny, partially shaded, or in shady conditions, it will grow very well. They tend to flower a little bit more profusely and be a little bit more compact in sunnier locations. Would be a nice plant to put in at the front of a bed or a border with, say, azaleas and rhododendrons. Or you could put it back in, say, a naturalized position in a woodland garden, in a semi-shaded location, somewhere where you're certainly going to be able to enjoy all of these gorgeous flowers. Now, what's interesting about this variety is that when Dick hybridized this, he found an interesting, innovative way to breed it. He had selected 6 miniature compact growing Kalmias, and he was interested in hybridizing the plants. Now, he could have spent hours going through and carefully pollinating each of the flowers, but what they did is they actually built a cage over 6 of the plants. Then they went through and captured a bumblebee, and then they released the bumblebee into the cage. Well, the busy old bumblebee was working from flower to flower, and as he was cross-pollinating the plants, and from the seed, from that pollination, Dick then selected this beautiful variety Elf that was introduced in 1982 by Briggs Nurseries. So if you're interested in growing a really nice native shrub that's evergreen, that carries lots of these pretty little flowers in springtime, then perhaps Kalmia Elf is one of the ones that you should check out and consider growing in your garden. This is Kalmia Elf.